Hello, everyone, and welcome to another webinar by Royal Cyber. My name is Mir Mustafa Ali Pasha. I'll be your host and one of the speakers for today. Some ground rules for a smoother experience before we begin. If you have trouble seeing my screen or hearing me, please notify in the chat window located on the right side of the screen. You can post your questions and comments in the chat box anytime during the presentation. There will be a dedicated slot for Q&A towards the end of the presentation where your questions will be answered in sequence. And you can also post your questions or request any follow-up information on the email shown right here. So in the next 45 minutes, we will discuss how to accelerate IIB to App Connect migration with ease using our offering the I2AC solution. Now that's me on the left side. I manage the middleware and integration practice at Royal Cyber, focused on helping our customers get the best return on investment on their digital transformation journey. On the right side is my colleague, Mr. Farooq Zubairi, who's a senior integration architect at Royal Cyber. He has a lot of experience in architecting, designing, and implementing IAB and ACE based solutions for our customers globally. So here is a quick look at the agenda. First, a brief overview about who we are, and we'll talk about why to migrate, really, right, from IB to App Connect. What are the available migration patterns, and some of the best practices recommended by IBM and uh, from our own experience. What is I2AC, by the way, which is the crux of this webinar, and what are its features? Then we will let you see a demo of the product, and we'll finally close with the ROI of the solution and some benefits. And for those who are attending this webinar today, we have an exciting offer, which I'll share towards the end. So please stay tuned. All right. So Royal Cyber is a mid-sized, a fast-growing IT consulting and digital transformation company specializing in services, solutions, and software. Right? We have more than 1,500, close to 2,000 now, consultants across the globe. Our headquarters is in Naperville, Illinois, USA, and we have a global presence with offices in Canada, US, Mexico, Middle East, and offshore delivery centers in India and Pakistan. Our strategic partnership with a lot of technology companies on the globe, such as IBM, Amazon, Salesforce, Google, and others, coupled with our business agility and follow the sun delivery model, makes Royal Cyber an obvious choice for a lot of our customers globally. We provide a reliable and high performing solutions and services on uh, on areas such as APIs, middleware and integration, DevOps, automation, cloud, data science, analytics, and so on and so forth. Okay, now let's get into the topic. Let's find out why do you need to really migrate from IAB to App Connect. Well, there are a few valid reasons for that. The first and the foremost is that the standard support for IAB version 10 has ended last year on the 30th of April 2022, for those who are not aware, right? However, you could still go ahead and purchase an extended warranty, extended support, if you haven't planned migration to App Connect yet. I think that's available for close to 3 years or so, and then there's no more support available. So if you haven't planned your move, this is the right time you should start planning about it, right? And then the next, I would say, reason is Ace in itself. Ace is very compelling, right? It comes with a lot of exciting stuff. One of them is the ability to have multiple topologies available. You can deploy App Connect Enterprise on-prem, on Cloud Pak for integration, which is a complete suite of middleware tools. You can also deploy it as a Docker container. You can run it on OpenShift. I mean, you have plenty of options available there, right? In addition to that, it brings in a lot of new innovative features in it, which I'll talk about in the next slide. There are plenty of benefits, technical benefits under the hood, such as ACE, App Connect Enterprise, utilizes lesser resources such as CPU, memory, and disk. It uses only a single OS process, while IIB needs multiple processes for a single integration server. In ACE, your policies are used instead of config files. So policies can be packaged into a bar file that can so that change release will be a single deployment, right? In IIB, you must know if the changes are made to the config files, we have to reload the entire integration server for the changes to take effect. Whereas in ACE, developers can use policies to control the runtime behavior. Now, how's AS better? All right, so there are a lot of benefits as we mentioned in the previous slide. The first one is improved developer productivity. Right, it improves time to value through intelligent and optimized tuning. It provides an integrated and a common user experience with API management tools plus a lot of accelerators. Right? So it simply simplifies the creation of your message flows and message models from scratch. The next benefit is it's AI powered mapping assist feature. Right? The mapping assist provides the following features such as the uh, it generates smart suggestions that are best suited for target fields. The incremental learning feature periodically retrains an AI model to improve the degree of accuracy of suggested mappings. The transformation generator feature uses the supplied sample data or drop-down values to construct complex transformations, such as a JSON expressions, um, and serves as an aid for mapping source to target data. Right? And the third benefit is test and DevOps automation. It fast tracks the adoption of agile practices while mitigating risk. Now the new test driven development capability accelerates your shift left strategy, enabling developers to iteratively test as they develop and automate test authoring. Another reason is extended connectivity. It has tons of new smart connectors, over 200 plus, making it easier for you to connect your systems and applications both on the cloud as well as on prem, right? And then hybrid, right? It supports hybrid cloud operations. It can achieve enriched operational visibility and control access across any deployment using the new dashboard, which provides end-to-end transparency of the integration runtimes across all your environments. And last but not the least is the business transaction monitoring capability. Right? This capability, it helps you in monitoring the end-to-end life cycle of your enterprise transactions, ensuring you get the best out of them. Now let's look at some of the migration patterns available. The first one is in-place migration. This has been available traditionally. It's a big bang approach where your existing installations are overlaid with a newer version. Traditionally, it was achieved using the MQSI migrate components command. Right. However, this is which translates all your deployed resources and configs to the required newer version. This command is not supported in ACE App Connect Enterprise version 11 and 12. However, there is still a workaround to implement this type of migration pattern. While we don't recommend it due to the obvious nature of the risks involved. The second pattern we have seen is parallel migration. And this is a staged safe approach that ensures your older IIB servers are running until the new ACE servers are stable and fully functional. Right. So in this approach, you should manually configure the new server and ensure all changes made to the old servers are replicated correctly in the newer version. Right? Missing out unknown changes can lead to unstable behavior of the deployed um, apps. The last one is the extract migration. Right? This is an approach and tooling that combines the best bits of both in place and the parallel option. So in this approach, you will extract both the configurations and resources from old nodes, right, and apply them onto the newer version. Now, this is achieved using a combination of MQSI broker command and MQSI extract components command in sequence on the old and the newer versions. Right? So this command can be used to migrate both at the integration node level as well as individual integration server. Now, what are some of the best practices? We have seen the patterns, but what are they really the best practices? Number one, we would say, based on expertise, is automate the process of migration as much as possible. Right? It simply eliminates, helps you eliminate the manual errors induced uh, due to the manual operations. Right? The next thing is, if possible, use a network storage which is stable to prevent any issues with manually copying the extracted or a backup files over from the old server to the newer server if you're using two different servers. The third thing we would suggest is review the the migration report, right, which is generated to ensure all the required applications are properly migrated and nodes are running fine. Now, this solution I2AC does generate a migration report for you. And it also includes transformation advisor recommendations as well. So you need to make sure you're reviewing these properly, ensure all the applications are migrated fine. You will also have to identify your IIB applications that are using deprecated features, right, and prepare a plan for migrating them or upgrading those code in advance, right. And the fifth one is really updates. Okay, so if any of your server side scripts use MQSA commands for activities such as your backup and restore, or refreshing the bar file, or even cleanup, for instance. So make sure they are updated to use the newer equivalent versions of MQSA commands offered by ACE. Okay, and if you're using MQSA commands in a CI/CD pipeline for build and deploy, right? Replace them with the again equivalent MQSA commands provided by ACE. And the last is, I would say, ensure you have the latest version of the IBM App Connect. Right? Could you go with the latest version or even the N-1 version, but the latest fixed pattern. Okay, so we have seen the patterns, we have seen the best practices. Now, what are the different approaches? You must have guessed it by now. On a very high level, broadly, we could categorize into two. One is a manual way of doing stuff, which is what has been done traditionally, and the other is an automated way of doing stuff. Right. So, with manual approach, all the tasks are done manually, which really takes a lot of time and it's prone to human errors, right? This is, we don't recommend it, especially in this specific age of hyper automation, AI, and chat GPT. I think there should be a better way of doing stuff, right? Yeah, so we say the better way is automation, right? So where some or all the tasks are automated or semi-automated. So all the resources and configurations, let's say, are extracted and moved to the destination systems automatically based on just a few input parameters. Right? So hence, the chances of errors are very low, and it allows you to accelerate your projects and go to market in a shorter time frame. Right. So hence, this approach is something that we would highly recommend. All right. So let's look at what is I2AC. It's an IBM to App Connect migration assistant accelerator. So this is was developed by the Royal Cyber team, the Center of Excellence, based on a lot of work in the past, and we felt automation is the way forward to really cruise through projects like migrations, right? To really fast track the completion of your AS migration projects. So it's a very simple at a very powerful utility, which simplifies the whole migration process, resulting in huge productivity savings for the team to the tune of nearly four times, right? That's based on our experience. Now, it comes with a lot of managed framework that provides an easy to use UI and event log and handles all the errors gracefully. It leverages IBM Transformation Advisor to provide you the change recommendations and a nice summary report that shows a snapshot of the migration activity as well. So you can see all the integration servers that are migrated successfully or failed during the migration, including detailed such as error codes and reason for failure in the migration summary report. any changes needed to the source code to make it compatible with the newer version of AS App Connect Enterprise needs to be addressed manually. I think that's the only thing you could address. You have to address manually at this point in time. But in the upcoming versions, we're also thinking about how to automate this. Okay, so what are some of the features? Some of them I touched upon it. Number one, it offers a very simple, easy to understand UI, which is very easy to use, providing a low learning curve. It supports multiple platforms, such as Windows and Linux. It offers one-time setup, so it's a one-time setup activity to configure and then just go ahead and use the solution. Okay, it's completely based on clicks. There's no code. There's no need to fiddle with MQSA commands and anything like that. It's a one-click approach to backup and migrate. Okay, it supports multiple migration patterns. We have seen it also supports node level or execution level, my execution group level migrations as well. Okay, it automatically restarts your migrated nodes and integration servers after the migration is done. It provides a HTML based recommendation report generated using your IBM transformation advisor. It also provides a migration report, a detailed migration report, I would say, summarizing the migration activity and the status of their target nodes. Also, if those nodes fail for whatever reason, it also displays the reason for failure for each of those nodes. Right? And finally, all the generated events during the migration process are logged properly for future references and for troubleshooting purposes. So, y- now here is a quick look at the solution architecture, very bird's eye view. As you can see, when the application is run, it takes a backup of the nodes and the servers and stores it in a location of your choice. You could select whether you want to. You can decide whether you want to save the backup in your local storage or where the server is running, or you could put it on a network storage. All right. If local storage is used, you need to copy the backup files manually over to the local storage of their target server where ACE has been installed or set up. If you use a shared server, then you don't have to do this. The solution will automatically pull the backup from the shared storage and extract it into the target location. As I mentioned earlier, it leverages the IBM Transformation Advisor to provide you recommendations of for each of the selected nodes, and based on the selection, the nodes or the servers are created on the target server, and they're deployed and restarted automatically. Now, how do you really use it? Okay, so let's look at some of the prerequisites. You need to have a user with admin access. You should have Java 8 or above installed on both the old and the new server. Then you should also set the Java home path correctly. If Java is missing, make sure you install it before you proceed further. Set the Java home path properly. Then you also set and path using the and home variable. Once this is done and you have ACE installed on the target server, let's say, right? The first thing you would do on the source server where your IAB is server is present is you would have this application copied over to the server. You open the application, simply select the name of the system and enter select the system, which means is this the source system or the target system, right? And then you would enter the path where your IAB or App Connect is running. You select the migration type, is it extract, parallel, or replace, and you would select the backup transfer mode. Are you going to save your backups locally, or you want to store it on a file server? And you just click hit migrate, right? So it would automatically do the job for you and store the take a backup of the integration nodes and servers, and keep it in the location that you've selected. Once that is done, come over to the target server if it's a different machine, right? Just do the same process. Open the app, copy the application onto that machine, open it up, select the system. In this case, you would say it's a destination server, and enter the path where ACE is running, and select the transfer mode, uh, and which says where are the backups basically. It's on the local or on the network. All right. If it is local, you should have copied it prior to running it here. If it is the network, you would have provided the network path already. And then you would, once that is done, it would list all the nodes which are ready to be extracted and migrated. uh, and just hit migrate. Click the node to look at or the transmission advisor report, which is generated using IBM transmission advisor. Review the report to make sure what applications are ready to go and what needs changes, what level of changes are required. Right? It this is the manual process that you have to spend some time uh, to review it. So there is a human intervention required here. Once you decide a node is good to go, just click the migrate button. It will automatically migrate the node, make all the changes required to make the source compatible with ACE. And once everything is done, it would show up a summary report on the summary tab. Okay. So on the summary tab, it lists everything that has happened so far, whether the nodes have been migrated successfully, if they are up and running or not. All of the information you can see. If they have failed, what is the reason for failure, all of that you could see on the summary. So that's it. Let's see I2AC, the solution in action. My colleague Mr. Farooq will give us a quick demo of the solution. Over to you, Farooq.
Thank you, Mir. Hi, everyone. This is Farooq. Before going into the demo, let me explain you something about the environment, that how we can explain uh, the benefit of this application and how we have the migration setups. So this is my machine, and I have created two VMs. One is 31, which has IIB, and the version of IIB we can see from here is 10.0.07. Uh, so let me explain what we have here. We have two nodes. Each node has one execution group. The user with the demographic execution group has an REST API, user API, and we can see here user API has this Swagger, which has one get API, and you have to send one ID as a query parameter, and it give you user detail object. So I just have mocked this for now to give me one single user detail, and the URL would be something like that. The this has a single API which we're gonna use. The thing which I want to explain here is by keeping this, what we want to explain here is everything related to this node in this API. It's either configuration or anything which we have done related to run this API as a part of this configuration will be moved when we're going to migrate this. The second one is we have an application which has two two flows. One flow is basically to read a file. The other one is pooling a file. So it has a one flow which is reading a file from an FTP, pulling a file from FTP, and then reading it and processing it. So here the purpose is that this uh, uh, flows need some of the configuration which we have as a configuration to set up like MDDB param we have set as a parameter, and then we have created one configurable service which is basically a configuration to connect with the FTP server. So the idea here is both of these applications are being built as an separate applications, but they have some of the configuration which is needed. And the idea to explain here is I have this setup. So just imagine that we have a production environment where we are building something, and time to time we are defining some configuration over the period of time on the nodes on applications, and somehow those are not documented. So what is the impact of the migration where we have the source code that has been there, but how about the runtime environment which is been running since a lot of time, and a lot of people has been working on that, and it is not well documented. So the risk here is that if I'll take that code which supposed to be run exactly on production, and I'll take to the other environment, and I'll start running that environment, that's gonna bring back approach would be there. So either this environment is going to work as is, which is ultimate goal. But if something is missing, which is not documented, that's not going to work. We have to find out that, and we need to figure out what is the problem, and then we're going to solve that. So there are two aspects which we are going to explain is we don't want to see those problems. So what we need is that we have, as explained in the presentation, that we have some best practices which we need to follow. So anything which we are moving from here to the target environment uh, is is there in the target environment, is not deprecated, all the nodes are there. If everything is there, then my expectation is that my code is going to run as is there. I will have there, and in the target environment, I should have the visibility that what are the things which is needed for these applications to run. And then from now there on, I can continue to document that. I can manage that code. So this is what we are planning to do this. So this is our source code. I'll come back to my machine, and I just want to run this service which is on source, and it is giving me this JSON as a single, as I said, a single user is being returned. Now what we need to do is on a source, I'm gonna run our application, which is, so as a part of the application, we will have this package. We have to unzip it, and there's a backup folder, which basically, whenever we start migration on the source side, the first step is it has to take a backup of your source so that you can move it to the destination and run your same application there. So once I'll click this, it will ask me where you want to run. Is it a source or destination? Of course, it's a source. It is asking me the directory of IIB. So I'm just copy that. I'll paste it here. So this is the path where my installation directory is there. So it has to run some of the commands. So those directories should be there on the class path. So once I'll click next, now what it will do on the background, it will reach into the directory and start to run. It's starting to get the nodes which are up and running. So as you see in the toolkit, we have two nodes. One is migration and one is yours user, which is up and running. So it shows me here and as a list that these are the nodes which I am taking as a part of this backup. So there could be a question that if I want to move only one node, or I don't want every node to be moved as a part of one migration. The idea is here that we will take a snapshot of your whole installation, but we will give an option on the destination side that you can take one by one, or you will take all, and so we'll have an option there. So rather than moving one by one, we'll just take a snapshot. So we will capture the source system at one point of time, and then on destination we can reiterate. We'll install one by one at once, whatever option we want to choose. So I'm going to hit, there's some couple of things. Extract is, as we said, that extract is an approach which we recommend and we want to use, because in App Connect, that's the best suited approach recommended by IBM. Other approaches we have for some older versions, but it's not supported at a time, so I'm going to not explain those. I'll just focus on extract. The local and shared mean is that if I want to take a backup and I want to store locally, if it is, I'll select this option. It will automatically go to my backup folder and store all the nodes there. If I'll choose, if I have some shared server which I want to keep it between both systems, I can select that. I will give this information and then I migrate. So it will just migrate everything to there. So just to keep it simple, I'm just keeping it local, but it works same way. So once I'll hit migrate, it will go to that solution, trying to run those scripts, uh, and and try to get the backup of both of these nodes. So if I'll take you back to this backup folder, so you'll see it start creating it by taking one by one a node. So both nodes are there. Plus, it will create one context file which help this migration to work, that all of this node is a part of the migration. So anything which is needed within the source and destination systems, as a part of the context will be created as a context file. So you can see if you're going back here, it will say backup is finished. If you want to see anything which you want to see as a backup events, it will show here. But I'm going to close here. Now this is the thing which I want to take to the destination system, because this is a backup of my migration. If I already have a backup uh, and I want to run again, it will just take uh, it will archive the previous backup and just take a new backup. So so this source part is done. Now I'll go to destination, and just to save our time, I already have copied this backup here. As you say, it's the same backup. Now, I'll show you App Connect here. Let me show you the version of App Connect. By the way, I'm on 32 VM, so I'm on the destination system. I have App Connect 12.0.3.0. I have a fresh installation, integration, nothing is there, no execution server, no nodes has been there. So what I'm going to do is I already have that backup which I want to keep as a part of my migration. So I'm going to click this on destination side. As I said, I have to select the destination now. I already have destination URL as a handy with me. So I'm just going to copy it here and I click next. Now it will read the backup folder and it will see what are the things I have for my migration. So as you see, we have two nodes. One is the migration and one is user. If you have something locally, it will automatically pick that and it'll try to generate the transformation as wider of that. It will gonna take some time. But if you select transfer mode as a shared, then you have to provide the FTP server and detail and which directory you want to have your backup. And just press enter, it will go download those, put in this backup folder, and again it will show it here. But just to keep it simple and focus on the real business, what I keep it local. So that's why I copy those manually and I just want to show. Now if you'll see, there are files are being generating. So as soon as you will have that file transformation advisor, it will give you a path. You're going to click that. It will show you a transformation advisor for that particular node. Now in that node, we can see this is recommendation that if I'm going to migrate this node, what could be the impact. But if I'll go to the detail, there is no critical issue, there is no potential issue. Suggested things are two, which is good to have, nice to have before going to the migration. What are the suggestions IBM has? That consider a different protocol rather than relying on the local file integration. That's fine. We have used an FTP node, and whatever recommendation moving forward for App Connect for file for FTP nodes, it has recommended that the message flow contain an interface file message flow node that rely on local file integration and is not configured use FTP. The benefit of having transmission advisor is that, so for instance, I don't want to migrate uh, things as is on my production, but I just want to know what are the things I can improve before going to the migration. So for example, I have 10 nodes, and I don't receive much, but there are some applications which we receive as an this suggestions. So what I can do, I can go, I can change that thing so that that can be better fit in the App Connect environment, and I can do that. If not, then at least I can move this particular thing. I'll keep it running myself in a new environment, and then once I have the privilege to change that piece of code, I can go and I'll keep these suggestions and I'll change those in the next later releases. So it's up to us that, but this is the recommendation which IBM will give in each and every node, execution server, flows, whatever things we have used, and what is the best thing to be used from now onward. This is also suggested AIB configurables. As I said, there is a configurable service attached to this application. So it says that this is very interesting. So IIB configuration service was detected that cannot be dynamically updated when converted to a policy in App Connect. So So that's what I was saying. Some of the things is being changed when we are moving from IIB to IIB App Connect. So that's why I just deliberately took this example so that I want to show if we have a configurable service, how that will be shown in App Connect. So the suggestion here is that that the configurational service which you are been using in IAB is no more operational. The way you are operating in IAB was not available, is not available in App Connect. So now you have to use it as a policy. So I think it's better uh, to understand the policies concept, how it's been in operational activities, how we need to go and change this policy and how it will be implemented. If you have some configuration, configurable service in your IAB environment, if you have caching, how you need to use that, it's better to understand that as a part of App Connect. Of course, this suggestion, this recommendation will gonna help you to use those. Now I can just take a backup. I can come here within the application. I'll use this recommendation, but I'll not migrate. I'll fix those. I'll understand how those things will be able to connect with me in next, how an administration guy need to understand the command, how operational people need to understand these things, and then I'll plan my migration. So these are the points which are very important for me to understand. If I click the other one, it will again ask you want to see the nodes. So in user, again, there is no critical or potential issues. There is no suggestion as well. So this is a queue as cucumber. So we can easily go move forward with that if we don't have anything. But if we have something, we need to work on that. It will not block our migration, but it is nice to have so that you will not face issue while supporting those kind of applications. So I want to migrate both of them just in this example. So if you'll see, I don't have anything here. I'll just hit the migrate. Now it will start migration. It will pick whatever applications are available in that context, and it will try to deploy and try to start those applications. So right now, meanwhile, it is migrating. I'll go back to my machine to show you something. Now I have this service which is running. Now as a part of migration, I don't want that my service, my REST service or SOAP service will move to a new environment with the new port, and then I have to change those port on my gateway or whatever environment I have. Normally we have a gateway like a data power on top of IIB or App Connect or APIC, whatever gateway we have. So in that case, I need to go and change the port there. But this migration will take all the configuration as is, and as you have a fresh installation, if the port is not been already used, it will go and take and deploy the same port. So you don't have to change those. So now let me give you here. Now it says that your migration has been complete. Now it will, the summary, it's going to take a minute or two to generate. We click OK. Now once it is generating, I can show you the nodes. So you can see we have a two of our nodes here. Uh, the user as is. So the environment is same. We have captured the same name of those nodes which are in the source. So the operational people, whoever are managing those, don't have to confuse between the names. The same execution groups, all the properties are same. If I'll just show you something here, let me go to the rest descriptor and try to show you the resources. So it has all those resources. Now, as it is deployed, so I'll go back to my machine and I'll copy this and I'll open another browser and I try to hit on 32. I'll receive the same service with the same data because it's the same service. Now, on both of the server, the same service which we migrate from the source and deployed on a destination is up and running. Now the thing is, the benefit of this is I don't have to change anything. I'll just go and change the IP from source to destination, and everything which was working will keep on running. Now I need to choose what kind of migration I have. If I want to plan that both systems will up and running, I'll just route some of the traffic to the new service, and I monitor that. Once I'll be comfortable, I can move all the traffic here. In case I just want to shut down my source and I want everything to be moved to the destination, then in case I just need to go and change those IP and everything will be good to go. Now I'll go back here in the destination. As I see, one important thing which I want to discuss here is this application basically was having a configurable service. Now I'll just to give you a brief, I just want to come here again. This is my IIB 10. If you'll see, this one was having migration flows. There is nothing like policy or something. But in this broker, there was a configurable service which was deployed, and my flows were accessing those things. Now, if I'll go back to my destination, here it has changed, and with that, it has created one the default policies. Under default policies, it has created a policy which is a migration FTP server. So this is the service which I was having. Now, if I will show you how this is being created on background, if I'll go here in the server, if you'll go to the IBM MQSI components, so it will show you two components here. If I'll go under migration and policies, it is under default policies. This policy is being created. I can show you here. So this is the policy which is being migrated as part of this migration. I can copy this, I can create a new policy, and I can use from now onward from configurable service to this policy. Now going back here, summary, everything is healthy. So just let me explain that. It will just show that we have this migration, and then we have a user, and then we have a execution server, and the applications. If anything is wrong, this will be shown as red, and user can click and the error will be prompt, and then you have to go and fix that and you come back. So and there is a summary of the migration, what are the steps happens. uh, so that's it, guys. In the essence, the benefit of this application is you don't have to worry about the configuration. You don't have to worry about what is there in my source which I'm not aware. So it will give you a pretty handy information initially as a transformation advisor, where you can go and look up your issues, potential issues, critical issues, or your suggestions, and then seamlessly if you migrate everything, you will able to access your services, and at the end it will give you a summary where you can just check the health of your nodes and applications, and of course you'll go to your nodes as an administrator and you can verify those things as well. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for attending this, and let's have join the QA section. So if you have anything, we can discuss there. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Farooq, for the wonderful demo. Um, and let's look at what are the benefits of the solution. What is ROI in it for you? The first one, we think it's the faster time to market. That you should have realized it by now based on the demo. It allows you to accelerate your migration activity. It increases your employee productivity, right? Next, you could manage dependencies better. What we mean by that is it leverages your IBM transmission advisor for my recommending what needs to be migrated, for better assessment before really migrating, deciding to migrate the whole. Okay, and also handles all the errors and stuff like that very gracefully there. Platform agnostic, you could run this on Windows and Linux. So far it also employs all the best practices recommended by IBM and based on our own expertise so far. It's very easy to use, right? It's a no-brainer. The moment you look at the solution, you know what you need to do. So the learning curve is pretty low. It requires one-time configuration, just to fill in some of the basic details, and it's a one click to backup and migrate No need to fiddle with any scripts or MQSA commands along the journey. And finally, a better visibility of your migrated environments. Right? So the summary report is a game changer. It auto restarts the node at the behind the scenes. It shows you the health of each of the nodes and the servers and the applications running on top of it. All right. So those are some of the benefits. And so, as I promised at the beginning of this session, here is an exclusive offer for today's attendees. We are offering an assessment of your IIB infrastructure if you haven't migrated yet, which is over $3,000 normally, but as a compliment for those of you attending today. Okay. Now, it covers the following in it. You can you can use the solution to backup your IAV server, nodes, execution groups, and whatnot. Not just that, right? Analyze what needs to be modified and changed, and will help you migrate one of the integration server, one execution group, by the way, onto the target machine, right? Because it's complementary, and it generates the adverb transformation advisor report with all the recommendations that in terms of what needs to be modified, what needs to be changed, what is the level of complexity of each of those is also mentioned in the report, and you can also see the migration summary for just the one integration server that you have decided to migrate. Okay, so we would do this for you as complimentary as part of today's offer. So I would say if this is interesting and you're thinking, how do I get started? Well, it's simple. Just drop us a line in the chat or to the email ID provided here, which is info@royalsaver.com. Right? You can quickly mitigate risks, accelerate your migration projects, save cost, and improve your return on investment using this migration accelerator. Okay, and this is based on our experience, and we think this is very interesting and very useful for our customers. And we wanted to share this with all of you today. And with this, you can meet your IT and business goals, right? As an offer from Royal Saver. So this is open to all attendees, as I mentioned, who have registered, as well as those who have joined our webinar today. So we have almost come to the end of today's session. I hope it was interesting. You have learned something, and if you have any questions, we are happy to answer them. So let's go to the Q&A and see if there are any questions in the chat.